Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, in San Antonio, a house party turns deadly, claiming the lives of 2 people.
In Victoria, a 20-year-old man is facing multiple charges and a $50,000 bond. The details of his arrest tonight.
And in a temporary win for Governor Greg Abbott, the Biden administration won't be able to continue to take down the razor wire at the border.
Well, somebody opened the old north gate and the cold winds have come in. We're doing in the 40s right about now. We do have light rain around the area. You can see it right about there. So it's going to be wet tonight, clearing tomorrow, but very cold for Halloween. And we'll be talking about that coming up in a moment.
And the game of the week is no shocker to anyone this week. It's East versus West. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Victoria police arrested 20-year-old Gage Scott Mills. He is charged with theft of a firearm and 2 drug possession charges. Mills is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $50,000 bond.
Hallettsville police arrested 20-year-old John Langberg. Officers say he had methamphetamine, fentanyl, and a pistol on him. He faces a weapons charge and 2 drug charges.
A magistrate judge dropped charges against LaJames Norman in connection with last week's shooting in Bloomington. The charges were dismissed after a hearing with a judge last week. 2 other teens remain charged in the crime.
And Highway 172 near Lawward was shut down this morning due to heavy smoke from an oil field storage tank fire. Both lanes on 172 were closed for a while. The fire was extinguished and the road was reopened. We turn now to the Maine mass shooting investigation. We're learning more about the suspect's past and possible missed warning signs by law enforcement that the gunman might be a threat.
Meanwhile, the community in Lewiston, Maine, mourning the 18 people who were killed in the massacre.
Tight-knit community in Lewiston, Maine, coming together to remember the 18 lives cut short in last week's mass shooting. Angela Turgeon lost her aunt Tricia Aslan in the shooting.
There's a sense of relief, a sense of safety, but it doesn't take away from the huge hole in our community.
Leroy Walker remembering his son Joseph.
I miss him, but I can't bring him back.
Late Friday, the suspect, 40-year-old Robert Card, found dead from what authorities say was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The discovery came after a desperate 2-day manhunt. And we're now learning more about potential warning signs about the danger posed by the suspect that police may have missed that might have prevented the massacre. Last month, a Maine sheriff reportedly sent an alert to all law enforcement agencies in the state after sources say the suspect threatened to shoot up an Army Reserve Center.
We paid attention to it, kept an eye on the area. The guy never showed up down here, never had contact with him, no nothing.
But the Lewiston police chief telling ABC his department never received any notice.
This just came to my knowledge that that there was supposedly some reports made. It is concerning to me.
I can assure you those questions will be answered in due course as the police conduct all appropriate interviews and determine the facts of this case.
Also, Lewiston City Council president and gun shop owner Rick LaChapelle says in August, the alleged shooter was turned away from buying a silencer for a rifle after he checked yes on his application when asked whether he'd been committed to a mental institution.
We did what we were supposed to do and hopefully saved a lot of lives.
While he was turned away in that case, authorities say they haven't seen evidence the suspect was forcibly admitted to a mental health facility, meaning it wouldn't have shown up on a background check, preventing him from buying guns. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
A group of dogs is answering the call to offer comfort and support to those struggling in Maine after the mass shooting there. An organization called Crisis Response Canines, a nonprofit dedicated to providing emotional support in the aftermath of unimaginable situations, is sending the therapy dogs. That group sent a dog to Uvalde to comfort a woman following the Robb Elementary School shooting last year. The dog sent to Lewiston will start by visiting first responders.
And now let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. I'm going to go ahead and call this cold weather cozy weather. So how long are we going to stay in the cozy weather for?
You know what I call it? caldo weather.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, absolutely.
A nice bowl of warm caldo would be perfect for tonight or tomorrow. So think about that if you haven't had dinner yet. There we are, right about there, and we've got a little shower activity just about to roll into the city right there. So expect a little rain within the next few minutes. There are heavier showers, but most of it is up to the north of us along I-10. Tomorrow, we actually have a wind chill for Halloween. I'm not making this up, for real. And we'll talk about that and how to bundle up for Halloween coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Mike, thank you. For weeks, the U.S. House sent no official response to the war between Israel and Hamas because without a Speaker of the House, no official business could take place.
Yeah, that all changed Wednesday with strong reaction just as new signs come of attacks on Gaza from Israel.
It took more than 3 weeks of infighting for Republicans to elect a Speaker of the House.
The Honorable Mike Johnson.
It took much less time for the first measure to come to the floor, a resolution in support of Israel in the war against Hamas, passed overwhelmingly in minutes, 412 to 10.
The fact that this is the most bipartisan resolution in modern history, with 425 co-sponsors, over 97% of this body, speaks volumes.
In the White House Rose Garden, where President Biden and Australia's Prime Minister met as the House-elected Johnson, the president also began his public address with the situation in the Middle East, saying he has asked Israel's Prime Minister, but not demanded, that Israel wait to secure the release of hostages in Gaza before a ground invasion.
Obviously, they're in jeopardy. The question is whether or not there's any way of getting them out. If we can get them out, we should get them out.
We have one goal, to go ahead for victory.
An Israel Defense Forces spokesperson said Wednesday strikes on Gaza are strengthening the Israeli military ahead of the next stage of war. A Palestinian-American mother's son says she's trapped in Gaza in the middle of it all.
There's no food, there's little water, they're eating garbanzo beans, whatever they can find.
He calls it an impossible situation with no end in sight. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
An argument at a house party in San Antonio turned deadly Saturday. Police say an argument broke out in the front yard of a home. Investigators say a 20-year-old involved pulled out a gun and started firing. A mother, father, and their 13-year-old daughter were shot. The father fired back with his gun, shooting the 20-year-old and a relative. The father and his wife died of their injuries. Their daughter is expected to recover, as well as the gunman and his relative. This incident is still under investigation.
Jury selection in the trial of the woman accused of murdering pro cyclist Anna Mo Wilson started this morning in Austin. KXAN reports Caitlin Armstrong was charged in Wilson's death. Armstrong pleaded not guilty in July 2022 with her arrest and plea following a 43-day fugitive hunt tracking her from Austin to Costa Rica, where she was found and arrested. Armstrong faces a first-degree murder charge.
The Biden administration won't be able to continue to take down the razor wire at the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas, at least for right now. On Monday, a federal court judge granted Texas' motion to stop the removal of the razor wire until a preliminary injunction hearing is held next Tuesday. Last Tuesday, Attorney General Ken Paxton sued the Biden administration, saying federal agents were destroying state property by cutting razor wire in the Eagle Pass area. The temporary restraining order expires on November 13th.
A trial date for Paxton's long-running securities fraud case has been set. A judge in Houston has scheduled the trial to start on April 15th. Paxton is accused of defrauding investors who were backing a company called Servergy in 2011 when he was a state lawmaker. In 2015, soon after he became Texas Attorney General, Paxton surrendered to authorities on 2 charges of securities fraud in excess of $100,000. He was also charged with a third-degree felony. Pet adoptions in Victoria might become easier next year. The number of stray animals in Victoria continues to rise. In order to help reduce the amount of animals without a home, Victoria County Commissioners approved applying for grant money to hire someone to oversee pet adoptions. This position would promote, conduct, and keep track of all animal adoptions in the county. Victoria County Judge Ben Zeller says this new position will be a positive step forward.
If approved, this would hire a full-time individual who would help promote adoptions of our cats and dogs. It's in line with one of our big picture objectives to increase adoptions within the community.
Judge Zeller says they should know if the county has been approved for the grant after the first of the year.
And as we know, the rising number of stray animals roaming the crossroads continues to be a problem without an easy solution. Mark Sloat, Director of Animal Services for Victoria County, tells us that his facility has only about 30 places to hold both dogs and cats, but is currently housing over 70 animals. He says that educating the public on animal leash laws and adoptions will help lower these numbers.
The biggest thing I can't reiterate enough is people need to keep their pets contained. It's a requirement of city ordinance that they be kept on their property. They have to be behind a fence or on a cable. And even out in the county, you can't let your dogs run. You know, they chase livestock and things like that. We don't want them getting hit by cars. And we wouldn't be full if it wasn't for loose dogs.
If you must give up your pet, Sloat recommends posting on social media asking for a loving home, or visit the Animal Control Services website for other ways your pet can be adopted. Now, in this Texas constitutional amendment election, Proposition 8 authorizes the creation of the Broadband Infrastructure Fund. Proposition 8 would create the Broadband Infrastructure Fund to develop and expand access to high-speed internet across the state of Texas. Election day is Tuesday, November 7th.
You can vote early in Victoria County all this week. The hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday, and extended hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday and Friday. You can vote at the Dr. Patty Dodson Public Health Center, 2805 North Navarro in Classroom A. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can get Crossroads Today on YouTube. In Houston, a teen arrested for sucker punching people. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, what the teen has to say.
Also ahead, the Biden administration tries again to help ease student loan repayments.
A Houston teenager who was caught on video sucker punching random people at local parks has been found.
Alfred Lewis says he regrets his actions and that he made a mistake.
Not far from peaceful Wortham Park, where he's accused of randomly punching strangers. Do you regret it?
Yes, I do.
19-year-old Alfred Lewis spoke with me about how he feels about it now.
You know, I just made a mistake, and everybody makes mistakes.
This is the video in question, first shared with KHOU 11 via the Nextdoor app. In it, you can clearly see Lewis striking a man in the head from behind before he turns around in shock.
I know, like, from the video, all you see is, like, the bad part about it, but what people didn't see was that I shook his hand after and how I had gave the man a hug.
That is something we cannot verify, nor can we confirm that another man seen in the video getting punched and grabbed later left on good terms, according to Lewis.
I really didn't expect for it to just go so left, you know?
I told Lewis that law enforcement is investigating the incident, something his mother and father were also aware of.
And your mom's probably disappointed.
Yeah, she is.
Lewis said the harsh reaction to the video will make him rethink his behavior and hopefully be a lesson for others.
Before you go out and you do anything that you feel is bad or that could look bad, make sure like people know, or just don't do it at all.
The men seen getting punched may have to file charges for things to proceed.
The Biden administration is moving toward a new student loan relief plan that would target specific groups of borrowers. This proposal focuses on relief to borrowers whose balances exceed what they originally owed, and those who have loans that entered repayment 25 or more years ago, and those who are eligible for other loan forgiveness programs but did not apply. The plan is estimated to cost $400 billion. The United Auto Workers Union says it reached a tentative contract with General Motors, the last of the three Detroit automakers to agree to a deal. Under the deal reached early Monday, workers at all three companies will return to the job pending votes on whether to ratify the contracts, which will take place over the next 2 weeks. The union's targeted strikes against the companies began on September 15th.
And it's Halloween tomorrow night. We all know what that means. It's time for costumes, candy, and carved pumpkins. But the origin of the spookiest holiday of the year is much less commercial. It began as a pagan festival to mark the end of summer and the beginning of winter. During early Christian times, All Hallows Eve honored the dead. So show off your costume and eat all the candy corn you can stomach. Just don't forget to take a picture and share it on social media and send it to us on crossroadstoday.com. And so here is your viewer poll this evening. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote. The question is, do you plan to dress your pet for Halloween? Yes or no? According to our results, it looks like 7% say yes and 93% say no. And I'm just going to go ahead and say you guys haven't bought it yet because we want to see those posts. So come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to send your photos and take part.
You bet. We want to see those photos. And of course, here's the important part. You might want to put 2 costumes on the kids because it's going to be quite cold. Tomorrow, the temperature will be in the low 40s about this time. Right now, we're at 46. Our high temperature today only got up to 50 after a morning low of 45. We didn't get any rainfall out at the airport, so we're going to see if we get additional showers tonight and into tomorrow morning. But by tomorrow night, I think the rain will be gone. We'll have all that coming up in just a moment. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Lots of cloud cover, cold and windy, and right now you can see how this shower band is right coming through the city right about now. So we're getting some light rain in the area. Do watch out for slippery roadways. Otherwise, it's not very heavy. The cloud deck is about to begin to clear out. You see it, it's up here in Austin, and all that's slowly moving down. The heavier rain at this hour is up along I-10, but you can see how we have showers still coming up from the south, and they'll be with us overnight. So yes, dampness overnight. Tomorrow morning maybe damp, but not to worry. I believe that by middle of the afternoon, we're going to start seeing breaks in the clouds, and we should have drier weather in store for the witching hour, whatever hour that is. There's the rain band that's coming right through the city right about now. And so it's nothing significant, but it is providing wetness, and we got to be cautious when you're driving in that. Here's the heaviest one. It's just north of Gonzales, headed on up toward the LaGrange area. This is the big story right about here. This is the first freeze warning of the year in Texas, okay? All of these counties, all the way from Fort Stockton, San Angelo, Dallas, not quite Waco, but pretty close, and Shreveport. This is called the first killing freeze, okay? Because it's going to get down to 27 in most of these areas for more than 2 hours. Therefore, a lot of vegetation is going to get, wiped out. Hopefully, they're going to bring their plants in tonight. I've got to do that pretty soon. But this is, shall we say, the beginning of winter for sure, after we get the first freeze warning in the state. Now, notice how we'll be in the 40s here tonight, but over here, we're looking at 30s, 20s, and even down to 25 in the Amarillo area. Tomorrow, still on the overcast in the morning hours, but during the afternoon, a lot of it should start clearing down to the coast, and we should get up into the mid-50s. But the 50s with a strong wind, well, that's different. All right, I'll talk to you about that in a second. Here's the cloud deck that we expect to start clearing. You see it right about there. And by the time we get to Tuesday and on into Wednesday, we should be in much better shape. Actually, we've got this front. It's not really making it through here, but it will continue bringing us cool, dry air for about 3 days. So we're going to be on the chilly side through at least Thursday. And then Thursday, we start the big warming trend. For those of you that want to go fishing, well, first of all, it's too cold. Second of all, it's too windy. Third of all, the bays are rough because of the strong winds. They'll be out of the north tonight and out of the north tomorrow, probably staying north until about that Thursday. So for those of you in Port Lavaca, we're starting off at 48 in the morning, 57 in the afternoon. We're going to go cloudy and then breaks in the clouds by afternoon hours. For those of you in Cuero, we're going to start with 46, get up to only 56, gusty north wind blowing, and then we're looking for breaks in the afternoon. Now here, I put this down as an alert day. Why? Because all of you have to bundle up the kids, and you can't forget that. 2 costumes, long johns, pajamas, whatever it takes, because the time of the witching hour, the temperature is going to be about 43, and with a strong wind, it'll feel like it's in the upper 30s. So bundle up, gloves, hats, earmuffs, all that good stuff, and have a great time. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody, we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now here's Sports Director Gina Perez.
Thanks, Karina. We're in the final week of the high school football regular season, and only 3 area teams are ranked in the state. That's coming up after the break. At a Crossroads, the game of the week is one that we've had circled on our calendar since the beginning of the season. It's Victoria East versus Victoria West. This week has a lot on the line with the results from last week. The East Titans are in second place in the district after a big win over the Veterans Memorial Eagles with a 14-10 score. West, on the other hand, are 4-2 in district and coming off a barn burner against the district champion Miller Buccaneers, losing by a narrow margin of 52-45. Now the two Victoria schools will battle it out at Memorial Stadium and could have ramifications. If East wins, they'll lock up the number 2 spot in the district, but if West wins, there will be a 3-way tie for the runner-up spot in district. We'll have to see how that pans out. Memorial Stadium will be packed and filled with red, black, white, and gold Friday night. Head coach Charlie Reeve and Courtney Boyce will meet for the first time in this crosstown rivalry on Friday. And we are 1 week before the playoffs, and there are only 3 high school football teams in the Crossroads that are ranked. The Refugio Bobcats remain undefeated and are number 2 in the state after dominating the Kennedy Lions 54-0. This week, Refugio has a chance to lock up the district title and will hope to do so against another Crossroads team, that team being the Ganado Indians, and they'll battle it out in Ganado. The two will battle out for the district title a week before the bi-district round of playoffs. The Tidehaven Tigers had a minor hiccup, if you want to call it that, allowing just its second touchdown of the season. The Tigers have only allowed 14 points all season long, but the offense did its job, stockpiling 48 points in the victory. Tidehaven still number 3 in the state and are hosting the Van Vleck Leopards. The Quail Gobblers needed some help to win the district title last week, but did it really need it? Probably not, because they are still ranked number 4 in the state, and Cuero is in prime position to go undefeated this season and make it all the way back to the semifinals and beyond. Hopefully, we'll see. Well, we are in the final week of the regular season of football games, but volleyball season postseason starts tonight. The number 1 ranked team in the state, the Goliad Tigerettes, are in Odom for the first playoff game of the season. Goliad is taking on Santana Gertrudis Academy Lionesses. This is the bi-district round of playoffs. Also, the top-seeded team in the district, the Lady Gobblers, and the Mean Green are taking on the Bernie Greyhounds in round 1. This game starts a little later than Goliad's. This one starts in about 4 minutes in Seguin. The Victoria West Lady Warriors had to battle its way to make it back to the playoffs and just barely squeaked in. The Lady Warriors will be in Kingsville taking on La Jolla Palmview Lobos. This game started at 5 o'clock. And lastly, the World Series is tied at a game apiece, and Game 3 will be tonight in Arizona. First pitch is at 7:03. Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
And by the way, that Game 3 of the World Series can be seen on our sister station, KVCT, Fox 19, and the pregame show is going on right now there.
That's right. All righty, well, we're back in a moment. Some students at a university in Nashville have been working 9 to 5 to put together a Dolly Parton fashion exhibit.
Will soon have 4 new maternal health research centers to help with the state's maternal mortality. You can read the Texas Tribune article on crossroadstoday.com. Finally tonight, country music icon Dolly Parton is known for her dazzling rhinestone-studded outfits, and now all that glitz and glitter and glamour are part of an exhibit at Lipscomb University in Nashville. A timeline of Dolly's fashion through the years has been created. 42 students over 12 majors have worked since the spring to bring this exhibition to life. The exhibit opens tomorrow and runs through December 9th. Tickets are available online. And I just wonder, because it is a Dolly Parton collection, I wonder if they have a coat of many colors in there. That's one of her hits from
well,
a while back.
I'm sure because she worked 9 to 5, you know. She worked
well,
all the
yes,
time.
yes. And I tell you, that's quite an exhibit. And they really worked hard to make sure Dolly was well represented.
Of course, none of us can wear rhinestones quite like Dolly.
Oh, yeah. She's a rhinestone
You got to be
queen.
special for that. Anyway, folks, it's going to be cold, and we've got rain showers right around the area right now. There will be wetness in the morning, but during the day Tuesday, I'm calling it alert day because you need to get ready with the kids for trick-or-treat. Because if you're taking them out, you got to bundle them up, either 2 costumes or pajamas or warm-ups or ski suits or whatever, because the actual temperature at sundown will be about 46. And with the wind, it'll feel in the low 40s, maybe upper 30s. So depending on how fast the wind is blowing, and it will be breezy, it will feel cold. So, you know, you don't want them crying. You want them with gloves and earmuffs and all that good stuff, and a smile on their face and chocolate all over their faces too. So have a great time tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, Mac, and thanks for joining us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.